Today is another very hot day, which means it's time to put our next truck on a TFL Toaster torture towing test.
That's a lot of T's, and to add to it, our truck is the Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter. But that kind of brings up a point. Andre, why are we tow testing an off-road trim?
Well, it's a brand new powertrain. This is a Tacoma Hybrid, right? It is an off-road truck, but in my view, a pickup truck must do everything. This one tows 6,000 pounds. We have a 6,000 pound trailer, and we're gonna see how it does in hot temperatures going up a mountain.
It's rated to tow that, it better do it. Andre, we got a Trailhawk and we got a Trailhunter.
Yes, we do. And thanks to our friends at Aluma Trailers and Rifle Truck and Trailer in Colorado, we have this very heavy duty trailer, but it's aluminum, so it's lightweight. And with this puppy on top of it, we're basically at 6,000 pounds, so we're stressing the truck to the maximum.
Exactly, which is exactly what we want to see, because that truck is rated to tow 6,000 pounds, so we want to see it be able to tow 6,000 pounds in any conditions.
All right, dude, so I put the Tacoma Trailhunter in tow haul mode.
Nice.
And we're ready to tackle the Toaster.
This is a pretty serious test. It's a little bit newer to us, but a year or two ago,
well, several years actually.
Yeah, a couple years ago, we were towing up this very same hill. We had a Chevy Silverado, and we were trying to take two side-by-sides up the hill, and the truck ended up overheating. Now,
transmission overheated, yeah.
Yeah, transmission overheated, and we were not trying really to test that truck. We were just trying to get our side-by-sides to an off-road trail up this hill. But ever since that happened, this kind of became one of our standard torture tests because it is so difficult. It's slow speed and steep grades climbing.
It's about 8 miles of climb, and average speed is going to be about 20 to 25 miles an hour, which means there's not a lot of air moving.
Yeah.
So it's going to test the cooling system of the truck, transmission, engine, everything, including the hybrid system.
Yeah, and since that Silverado, we've overheated multiple other trucks from basically all the big brands.
We had a Ford F-150 go into kind of a limp mode. It was trying to protect itself. And then we had a small issue with the Ram 1500 where we lost a little bit of oil pressure in the engine at the very top of the mountain because, well, we didn't lose it. It was just got a little bit low.
Yeah.
Because the oil is so thin, especially when it gets hot.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of, if not the most difficult test that we do, especially for towing. And again, this is a test that is 100% fair to do with this truck because there are people that have to tow trailers up hills like this, just as we did when we were trying to get two side-by-sides up this hill. And it's a great test because when trucks like this are rated for a certain amount, you want them to be able to tow that amount under any conditions, even going up a steep hill on a hot day at elevation with not a lot of airflow.
As always, we're using our brand new WaySafe hitch, and I'm using it in kind of reverse position because I wanted to have a little bit of lift.
Yeah.
And we know exactly what our tongue weight is, which is about, what, 600 pounds or so, which is perfect.
Yeah, 10% of the trailer weight, which is awesome. And the fact that those are built into the hitch is really cool.
Yeah, it's an aluminum hitch, aluminum trailer. Well, the truck is not really aluminum, but, you know, we're doing really well. Dude, this Trailhunter truck is overbuilt, right? It's got massive steel bumpers, recovery points, but also the hitch is overbuilt on all Tacomas. Do you kind of see that? So it's a double wall design.
Yeah.
And I had an issue with it, a small issue this morning. This is the standard pin for a 2-inch receiver.
Right.
And it's not long enough to go across this hitch.
So even though you do have a 2-inch receiver, you have to use the pin from a 2.5-inch receiver to get all the way through it.
Yeah, so that's just one piece of advice.
Well, one perk is that it does look pretty easy to get to your chain connection points there.
Yeah, this is really nice, and our breakaway cable is also connected. We're monitoring 3 temperatures. Transmission temp is currently 231, which is already pretty warm.
Yep.
Engine coolant temp 208, and engine oil temp 216. We're also monitoring RPM, load, engine load, so 100% now. I'm using all of it, and ambient air temp is around 84 degrees. So it's end of August. It's not super hot yet, you know, like it was, you know, in July.
Yeah, this is definitely not the hottest day that we've done one of these tests on.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to have that Banks data monster going right now because this truck doesn't offer you the same readouts that we can get on some other trucks that will give you an actual numerical value for what some of your different temps are. There's of course temp bars that are here built into the dash, but nothing as specific as what we get on our bank system.
Yeah, and a failure for this test would be, first of all, an error message.
Yep.
That's partial failure.
Yep.
Because, you know, if it says slow down or stop, something like that, or a derate, like we saw in the F-150, where it'll actually kind of pull power away from you. And of course, if we are spewing steam, that's also a failure.
That would be not good, any kind of mechanical failure. What we want to see ideally in this test is to find a truck that is happy to tow its max rating up this hill without any issues, and like you said, without any error messages or something coming up to make you feel not confident that your truck is capable of doing what we're trying to do here. And so far, have we taken any trucks up this hill at their max rating without them coming up with some kind of error message? Have we had a pass on this test yet?
Well, we had several passes, but without taking them to the ultimate maximum. For example, the Cummins truck we've tested, our Ram Cummins, passed with flying colors.
Yeah. Well, the Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck passed. F-150 Lightning passed.
Yeah.
And it's funny, some of the electric trucks we've tested on this mountain do quite well.
Yeah, and of course there's other limitations to towing with an EV, but it does seem that those trucks have no problem moving the weight that they're rated for up a hill continuously without airflow, because they're not as much dependent on airflow as these trucks are.
And actually the Cummins and the electric trucks we've tested do better on the downhill, even though the downhill is not the ultimate part of this test. Whoa, dude, our trans is at 246.
So that's what I was just looking at. So transmission temp is getting up there. So is the engine oil temp. So we're at 234 on the engine oil temp, 248 now, it's saying on the transmission. And then our coolant temp around 216. It's fluctuating a little bit, but yeah, mid 200 and teens. So definitely our temps are going up, 249 now it's saying on the transmission. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we continue to go up the hill. This is a pretty sustained steep grade going uphill for quite a while. Then it flattens out for a little bit, and then you get another steep uphill section at the very top of the hill, which is dirt.
Yeah.
And again, we're picking up elevation this entire time, which also makes this more difficult because the truck is going to be more strained for the power to actually move this weight. Now, this being a hybrid system, at least the electric portion of the powertrain.
Jeez, and the bicyclists here are incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. The electric portion of this powertrain shouldn't suffer from the altitude, but still, it's a lot of weight to move up at, what are we now, 6,500 feet in climbing.
Yeah, we started about 5,500 feet above sea level, and we'll end up at about, what, 84 or 8,500 feet above sea level.
He's saying 253 now on the 255 now on the trans temp.
Tacoma says we've still got some room on the bar.
Yeah, so again, I mean, this is just kind of a vague general look at what your temperatures are like, because it's not actually giving us a numeric value. But it is higher than the center point, although still pretty far off from the red. So if you're looking at the Tacoma's gauges, then
you're not worried at all.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it's a little warmer than average, but not a big deal. But yeah, now 260 according to the banks. And this is all pulling off the OBD, right?
And by the way, manufacturers, I mean, I'm a little bit old school, right? I mean, I've been towing trailers for about 20 years. So seeing that number may be worrisome for me. Yeah. But technology has been progressing, right?
True,
there's different fluids, different mechanics, right? So
yeah, we're showing 262 right there on the transmission temp.
Yeah.
Between 260 and 262, so it's warm in the transmission, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe transmissions these days, especially in these all-new trucks, are getting to be more robust. You know, the fluids are getting better. You know, things are changing.
Yeah, you know, all those things definitely progress over time. Fluids these days can handle things that fluids from back in the day couldn't. But still, 260 is warm.
It's toasty.
Yeah, that's warm. For sure. So Andre, one of my favorite things on this new Tacoma is that we got a V8.
No, wait. No, we don't. Why does it say that? Well, actually, we have V8 type power, and this 4-cylinder.
We got a lot of torque. So a 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder,
Yes.
like the base Tacomas, but this one is paired to a hybrid system.
Yes.
Total output with 326 horsepower,
Yes.
465 pound-feet of torque, so a lot of torque.
I think that's more torque than the old 5.7 liter iForce V8. So Toyota is doing something different with the Trailhunter. They're giving it more payload.
Okay.
So this truck has 1,215 pounds according to this sticker, but it also has this sticker, which is optional equipment. Like I think that sports bar is included. So you're losing about 127 pounds. So it's still over 1,000 pounds of payload in a mid-size truck loaded with off-road equipment.
Which is nice to see, because theoretically this would be a little bit more of an overland style truck.
Recently I did a video where I showed the trailer brake controller settings on a Land Cruiser, and I was really critical because I thought it needed some upgrades and changes. On the Tacoma it's a little bit better. So right here under settings there's actually trailer settings and trailer light check. So for a pickup truck, at least this new 2024 model year Tacomas and up, you can actually define your trailers and it will save it and you can recall it. But it's still not ideal because it doesn't track your fuel efficiency with the trailer and it doesn't track the distance you've gone with this trailer. But you could change the brake type, for example, to electric over 5,000. You could save it, bam, and then you could set the gain using this brake controller on the right hand side. So it's a big improvement over what the Land Cruiser has, but still not class leading.
Truck's doing well so far. I'm impressed.
Yeah, the transmission, you know, when I got to the office this morning without the loaded trailer, my transmission was about 220.
Oh, that's
so even just driving normally, you know, throughout the day,
it's pretty happy.
It's already it was at 220 already. So that's what it's like to be at.
So we're rolling down the windows a little bit here so we can listen to the... By the way, we didn't boost that audio at all.
That's what it sounds like.
That's genuinely how loud it is from the inside. This sound is coming through the mics that are on our shirts right now. It's really loud.
That's the air intake.
It sounds cool, but with the windows down, you can't have a conversation over it. It's so loud. I'm childish enough to enjoy it, but...
I am also childish enough.
But if you're not as childish as Andre and I, you might get a little tired of it. So we'll roll that up since it's going to do that vacuum cleaner noise the entire time we're going uphill. Now we're on dirt, so we finished our flatter section of the uphill, and now we're getting back to the pretty steep uphill. But as we're driving over dirt here, this is a dirt road, it's not the smoothest thing in the world. Suspension on this truck is dealing with it really well.
Yeah, this is Old Man Emu. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly because we have a lot of viewers in Australia.
Yeah.
And they always correct me. Thank you guys. Old Man Emu shocks. So it's basically designed by them.
Yep.
And then Toyota actually had Bill Stein. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
Actually build them. Right, because they need a lot of these. They sell a lot of Tacomas.
Absolutely.
So they need to build a lot of shocks.
Yeah, high volume, but really good suspension in this. I don't feel like from the time that I've spent in this and the TRD Pro, I don't feel like the suspension in the Pro is any better than this. I think this to me rides about as good in most conditions. I haven't jumped both the trucks, but
yeah,
the suspension is awesome.
And we loaded it with 600 pounds of tongue load on the trailer.
Yep.
You and I, and a couple of gear bags. Yep. And it did squat a bit, but It actually didn't squat as much as I was thinking it would squat.
No, because we've got really solid payload in this truck. Over 1,000 pounds is not bad for a mid-sized truck. And the other thing that I do like about this Trailhunter when compared to the other top dog off-road version of the Tacoma, the TRD Pro, is that you can get this Trailhunter with a 6-foot bed, which is not an option on the Pro, but I love that they include that ability for you to spec it that way on this.
Dude, do you want to show this? We're getting 264.
Oh boy. Yeah, so it went down to 258 at one point on the flatter section, but now we're showing 266. So yeah, as we get up further along the drive going up this hill, it's definitely heating up.
Still, the bar graph is not touching red.
Yeah,
it's still
267 now. It's saying
it's not,
banks, but
it's not touching red yet.
Yeah, that graph is still telling us, hey, don't worry about anything. So I wonder what the threshold is that this truck is comfortable with
for the transmission.
What 269 now? I wonder what is the point at which that gauge goes into the red. I think you would maybe have to step outside of the realm of what this truck is rated to do that. Again, this is not the very hottest day that we've tested this.
But it's quite warm.
It is warm, and still difficult.
Yeah.
Usually, even on really hot days, by the time we've gone up this much in elevation, we're now at 7,700 feet. It's not going to be 100 degrees typically at this elevation, but just the fact that we're having to drive so slow up this dirt road at this angle and this elevation still pushes the temps through the roof.
And also, I remember that Chevy that we overheated the transmission on.
Yeah.
I believe it told us to stop driving near 300 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So I'm not saying Toyota has the same threshold. I'm just saying that's the approximate ballpark.
Yeah, it's having no problem keeping up with what we're doing. It's delivering everything that we're asking of it, and the temps are still climbing. We're at 273 indicated on our banks as far as the transmission temp. So it's hot.
It's very hot.
No doubt about it. 275 now. So it continues to climb.
Even though I'm not on gas.
Yeah, exactly. And it does take a while for, as you said, the transmission to cool off.
Yeah, because a lot of manufacturers are doing they have transmission fluid running in lines, not to a dedicated cooler, but a loop that's inside the radiator.
Yep.
That's cooling the coolant as well. So a lot of manufacturers are now combining those systems together.
Yeah.
But the side effect of that is if the radiator is also hot, it's hard to cool off your transmission.
Exactly. And the transmission is quite a bit warmer right now than our coolant temp.
Yeah.
At 207 on the coolant temp, 205, and 275 on the transmission temp.
But the ride is very confident. Dude, I've never felt like, I'm being pushed by this trailer on these switchbacks. The suspension, like you said, is pretty comfy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things about this Tacoma Trailhunter that I'm pretty pleased with.
This is the top of our hill, Andre.
Yeah, dude.
This is where we stop.
You want to show the temps?
Absolutely.
Let's take a look.
Here at the top of the hill, we're showing 273 on the trans temp, 234 on the engine oil temp, and 207 on the coolant.
Yeah.
So hot for sure, but that is a pass on the truck.
It is a pass.
Our gauges here are not.
So don't look at these orange lights. That's a parking sensor, and that's kind of driver assistance sensor.
Because we have a trailer
hooked up. So don't be worried about those lights. It's a pass.
Yeah, that's really impressive with the Tacoma. This is a hard test. Not a lot of trucks have passed it, and the Tacoma gets a pass. That's pretty good.
And it's already starting to cool off. Like, we're just here for just about a minute.
Yeah, we've lost 6 degrees now
Yeah.
on the highest temp that we've seen there on the trans temp. So yeah.
I'm not smelling anything terrible, are you?
No, it doesn't seem like from walking around the truck and looking at the truck's own gauges, it would give you no indication that it's struggling whatsoever. It seems as happy as it always is.
And we still have, like I said, a lot of clearance here. So it didn't squat a heck of a lot, even with this giant load in the back of it.
Yeah.
It's a pass.
Really impressive performance.
Yes. All right, guys, so we also have a playlist on TFL Truck YouTube channel where you're watching this, so you can see the previous runs with different trucks that we've done there. We also have the Raptor R, I just remembered, did this mountain as well. So check us out at alltfl.com and tflstuff.com. And I want to thank, of course, our partners, Aluma Trailers and WaySafe Hitches. Thank you.